Hi everybody, it's Mo from Mo Goes, and I'm back with the fourth and final part of my cruise on Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas. For this segment, I wanted to do a micro tour of the ship, focusing on some very specific areas, starting off with our stateroom. As with every cruise we've ever taken, we always choose a balcony stateroom. On this ship, balconies start at roughly $14.49 per person, and they're about 162 to 207 square feet. It comfortably sleeps 4, so as a family of 3, this is the perfect size for us. There's a decent amount of storage, especially in the closet. There's a refrigerator, there's a vanity, a television. The bed was pretty comfortable, and I believe it was 2 twin beds pushed together, so it was a decent size. But one of my favorite features of this stateroom is the hideaway ceiling bed. Your assigned room attendant will set this bed up for you every night, and it's the perfect solution if you have kiddos or a teenager. Now for the crowning jewel of the stateroom, the balcony. This is basically an extension of your stateroom, and it gives you just a little bit more room to spread out. You have amazing views of your surroundings, and two of the biggest advantages to these balconies is, like I said, you have extra space and you actually have privacy. If you're an introvert like me, this is the perfect way to enjoy the scenery, relax and bask in the sun without eyes peering at you like what would happen if you were up on the Lido deck or anywhere else in public spaces on a cruise. And the third advantage I already mentioned earlier, you can't beat the views. The views from the balcony are they're just simply unmatched. Honestly, I think I spent more time on our balcony than I did walking around the entire cruise ship, but that's perfectly fine. That's what they're meant for. And I believe that we got our money's worth for the amount of time that I spent on our balcony. There's nothing like taking in all that fresh air while you're on the wide open ocean. It's just an exhilarating feeling. And believe me, I was not the only person taking advantage of hanging out on our balcony. At any given time, any day during our cruise, I was able to look around, up, down, left, or right, and I saw someone else doing the exact same thing that I was doing. So if you've never taken a cruise before and you're seriously considering one in the near future, I highly recommend get a balcony room. In my opinion, it's worth every penny. Moving on to our bathroom. Now this space is pretty small, so that's something that you'll need to consider. I'm not really sure what the interior room bathrooms look like, but this one was pretty small, especially the shower, and so much so that I had to open the shower door in order to bend down and reach the soap when I dropped it, and I'm pretty tall, so keep that in mind if you're on the taller side. And as I mentioned earlier, the closet had lots of space. Plenty of hangers, plenty of room to hang up garments that couldn't be folded. There were quite a few shelves that you could use for foldable clothes, and plenty of storage space to hide your luggage away. There's also a laundry bag with an order slip to complete if you needed laundry services, as there is no guest laundrette on the ship. Everyone on board gets an assigned room attendant, and ours was Brian, and every night he left our room spick and span, comfortable, and he also left us these cute little animal towels every single night on our bed. On a fun and relaxing cruise like this, it's very easy to lose track of the time and the days, and I love that every elevator has one of these day of the week reminders built into the floor so that no matter where you go throughout the ship, you'll always know what day of the week it is. Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas holds 3,800 people, and you wouldn't know that there were that many people on board by these pictures and videos that I have. But the reason that is I chose to explore the ship during what I call non-peak hours, and that was generally around 6 a.m. to 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. There were quite a few early birds out and about, headed to Windjammer, maybe going to the gym, and believe it or not, there were quite a few people around the pools claiming their spots. And on these cruises, people take their pool time very seriously. They're up very early to claim a spot, the perfect spot around the pool, and they stay there for the entire day. I've read in different cruise forums that people who do this are the ones that tend to book the interior rooms on cruise ships, so it makes sense that they want to spend most of their time out, hanging out on deck, around people, under the sun, since you don't get those kind of views in an interior stateroom. Just because you're on a cruise doesn't mean you get to skip workout day. The Vitality Fitness Center is a well-equipped gym that has everything you need to maintain your workout regimen while you're on your cruise. It opens bright and early at 6 a.m., and that was the time that we arrived to get our workout on. We made it to the gym 2 of the 9 days of our cruise for a little weights and cardio. I really enjoyed walking up and down the Royal Promenade. It's the heart of the ship, and it's where most of your shopping is located. You'll also find a sports bar, casual, and specialty dining options. Up on Deck 8 near the front of the ship, you'll find Royal Caribbean Online. If you purchase the internet package, you're able to use these computers to surf the internet, check your email, or book another Royal Caribbean cruise. On Deck 7, you'll find the library. Believe it or not, the library gets pretty crowded, so if you want a little solitude while you're reading, you may want to come earlier in the day. One more thing to mention, even if you don't purchase the internet package, you can still use your own device or use one of these computers to surf Royal Caribbean's website. On sea days, I found myself spending lots of time here on the upper decks, mostly earlier in the morning when there were fewer people around. The main pool deck was just below, so you just needed to look over the banister to see and be a little closer to all the action without actually being in the action. Another advantage of being on these upper decks is that you have unobstructed views of the open seas and the skies. And let me be very clear about that pool action. It's nothing like what you've seen on some other cruise ships where they have a lot of parties and contests. There's nothing like that on this ship. The Sky Bar is a really cool place to hang out and get drinks, especially being that it doesn't get as crowded as the poolside bar does. There's no shortage of things to do on this ship, whether it be indoor or outdoor activities, but if you're into miniature golf, all you have to do is head to Adventure Dunes. There's a kiddie playground, water slides, and a flow rider. This is another really cool area just to hang out and take in the sights and sounds, but it doesn't take too long for this area to be crawling with people wanting to take their chance on the flow rider or just to hang out. So just like with anything else, if you want to beat the crowds, you got to get here early. Another one of my favorite sea day hangout spots is here at Johnny Rockets. Because they didn't open until 11 o'clock a.m., this place was pretty much a ghost town, and it ended up being another really great quiet spot on the ship just to hang out and enjoy the scenery. The arcade was pretty spacious. We stopped in here a few times to play some games, and we did that earlier in the day before the crowd started to creep in. Surprisingly, not many of the games were working. I tried at least 5 different games, and most of them did not work, with the exception of this one. Keep in mind, if you ever need assistance with a game, you'll have to dial a number that's posted around the arcade, as there is no arcade attendant present. I love the fact that there were so many outdoor activities to keep you busy. The pickleball courts stayed packed. Besides our stateroom balcony, I think my favorite part of the ship is up here on the sun deck. I must have spent a good hour walking back and forth in this section from starboard side to port side, and I don't think I counted even 10 people hanging out in this area. Mind you, the time that I spent here was closer to midday, and people just didn't make their way to this part of the ship. As serene and quiet as this section of the ship was, the downside is that there isn't much shade, which is why I recommend enjoying these serene sections of the ship in the earlier part of the morning when the sun isn't as harsh. After scoping out the sun deck and making a few laps around the area, I finally found the perfect spot for me to lie back and soak up some rays. Overall, I really enjoyed our cruise on Adventure of the Seas, and one thing I didn't mention is that this ship is relatively old. It was built in 2001 but refurbished last in 2018. All in all, it's a great ship, and if you have a cruise on this ship in the future, you're in for a treat. I hope you enjoyed this video as well as the entire series of my Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas adventure. Thanks so much for watching, and until the next one, see ya.